today, just something that we always have in our household, and it's very easy to make. You can put a lot of different things in it, depending what you've got in the cupboard, and you can also flavour it in lots of different ways, again, depending what you have in the house. So, the main ingredients for granola are oats. Again, faithful porridge oats, lots of oats. If you have any nuts or seeds, they're good as well to add into it. If you don't have any of nuts or seeds, you can add raisins as well. You also need, this one's quite a healthy one, so I don't use any sugar in my granola, but I do sometimes use honey. I usually use coconut oil, but again, you can use sunflower oil or vegetable oil. I don't like olive oil in my granola because it tastes quite strong, and so I think it's better to use any of the other oils, or you can use rapeseed oil if you want to use rapeseed oil. First, I'm going to do is weigh 4 cups of oats. I will measure we worked out 1 cup is about 80 grams of oats, but I will also measure this in tablespoons for those of you who don't have cups or tablespoons. 9 tablespoons per cup. 4 cups of oats, or 36 tablespoons of oats into your bowl. That's so don't worry about it being too exact, you can change it up as well. I sometimes substitute some oats for some other things like buckwheat or quinoa. I'm going to add a little bit of quinoa in as well, just to add a little bit more texture and a little bit more different nutrition into my. So I'm going to add about half a cupful of quinoa or quinoa. I'm not sure, people call it different things. I'm probably saying it completely. I also think it just adds like a different dimension to it as well. So in here I'm also going to add just a pinch of salt. It just kind of complements the different flavours in it as well. You don't have to add it, and some people want to add more. Okay, so in here I've got my oats and I've got my quinoa. If you've got any nuts, add some nuts in there or some seeds. I'm going to have a look and see what I've got hanging around. I found some almonds hanging around, so I've just chopped them up into randomly, chopped them up a little bit. So next we need some liquid to get it to come together. So I'm going to use coconut oil, which you can buy in Aldi or Lidl, but it's solid at room temperature, so I need to melt that. If you're using olive oil, that's fine, you don't need to melt it. So for the coconut oil, you need half a cupful. If you don't have a cupful, again, this will probably be about 4 teaspoons. So you can see with coconut oil it is solid, so I'm going to add in 4 heaped teaspoons. And then you're also going to add in half a cup of honey. You can use sweetener, you can use maple syrup, whatever you have really. I've got honey, so I'm going to use that. Okay, so I'm going to add honey into this as well. Okay, so I've now melted my coconut and my honey together in this jug, as you can see, separated. I'm also going to add a little bit of ginger and cinnamon to this one. So I'm going to add a teaspoon. I like it quite gingery, so I'm going for a heap. And a teaspoon of cinnamon. So I've added, you can add any flavour you want. If you want vanilla, you can add vanilla to it, vanilla essence. If you want it to be orange flavour, you can zest orange zest into it as well. Or lemon or lime. Orange obviously is better. Orange and cinnamon work quite well together as a flavour in here. If you want to add coconut or raisins, when you're cooking this, you want to add it about 5 minutes before the end, because otherwise they burn. Okay, so I'm going to combine that together, add my liquid as well. So chuck it all in. You want to make sure all of them are coated. So give them a good mix around and make sure each oat is coated with the syrup. So it looks a little bit like a flapjack mixture. So once your granola is all coated and you can't see any dry oats, that means you're good to go. Get a big baking tray. It doesn't need to be this deep, it's just that I'm the biggest. It doesn't even need to be this big. It can be a bit smaller. And you want to put a bit of greased toothpaper in there, or baking paper in there. And then you're just going to get your oats, chuck it in. If you like big clusters in your granola, you want to stick them down together, so push them down into the baking tray a little bit. If you like it more a bit muesli, just separate it out. So I'm going to spread it around the tray, and then I'm going to push them so they're a bit more compact. If you want it thicker, just use a smaller tray, and that will make it more compact as well. For your temperature of your oven, you want it on 160, you want it on a low temperature, and you want to make sure that you don't overcook your oats because they burn really quickly. A bit like flapjack, when you're cooking your flapjack, you think it's not done, so you put it back in, and then 2 minutes later, all the oats are broken or are burnt. So you just want it to start to turn golden brown on the edge. You don't want to see the dark brown, so just a little bit on the edge. Okay, so after my granola's been in for about 10 minutes, I'm just going to give it a little stir to mix it up, and then I'm going to squash it back down so I get some nice lump. I'm also going to stir in a handful of raisins as well. The granola's been in for about 20 minutes, and here you can see what it looks like. Now, don't try and separate it up or take it out now. You want to let it cool completely, because then it gives you the nice big clump. Unless you want it like muesli, then break it up now. And then this will keep in a container for about 2 weeks. Okay, enjoy!